evening and welcome to The Real Deal. I'm your host, Stephanie Bristow. We have a great show for you this week. We'll look back at last Sunday's Emmy Awards show, learn about some of last spring's unlucky TV shows, and take a step into Rocky's Corner. But first, as always, let's look at this week's Hollywood headlines with Brandon Thomas. Brandon?
Thank you, Stephanie. CEO Reed Hastings announced that Netflix is going to split its DVD by mail service and its streaming video service into two separate companies. Quickster will become the new DVD-only company and will be separate from the streaming business that will still be run by Netflix. Hastings' reasoning behind this new setup is that the streaming and DVD by mail are becoming two different businesses with very different cost structures, different benefits that need to be marketed differently, and they need to let each grow and operate independently. One improvement being made is a video game upgrade option. Quickster will not only offer DVDs, but also video games. Since the DVD has its own team, they are going to be able to make that happen. According to Entertainment Weekly, Charlie Sheen is this close to settling his lawsuit against Warner Brothers. Last March, Sheen has filed a $100 million lawsuit in which he demanded pay for the episodes that weren't produced and money for the crew while the show was suspended because of Sheen's termination of contract. Rumors say that the settlement could reach up to the 8-figure range. Meanwhile, Monday's season premiere of 2.5 Men with Sheen's replacements Ashton Kutcher scored its biggest audience yet with almost 28 million viewers. And finally, The Lion King, which was originally released June 15th in 1994, made another appearance in theaters this past weekend in 3D. It scored the top spot in the box office weekend, making over $30 million, more than the other three films opened this weekend combined. In 1994, The Lion King made over $40 million its opening weekend. The Lion King in 3D will be in theaters for only 2 weeks, so go buy your tickets now and enjoy a good night with your family and friends. That's what's happening in Hollywood. Back to you, Stephanie.
Thanks, Brandon. Next, we have Andrew Bennett with an update on the music industry in this week's Music Minute. Take it away, Andrew.
Thank you, Stephanie. Last week proved to be a big week in music for those who have already died. Not only was it the 15th of rapper Tupac Shakur's death, but it would have been Amy Winehouse's 28th. The Grammy-winning artist unexpectedly passed away last summer after spending most of her life addicted to drugs and alcohol. In honor of her birthday, the singer's father launched the Amy Winehouse Foundation, whose mission is to help at-risk children and addicts. The first major donation to this charity will come from Winehouse's final recorded song, Body and Soul. This 1930s duet with Tony Bennett also released last week. In other news, the Guinness Book of World Records has announced a new crop of record-setting feats. Once again, Adele steals the show with 3 entries into the book. She is the first female to have 2 albums and 2 singles in the top 5 simultaneously, something only the Beatles have achieved prior. The diva also set records for the female solo artist with the longest streak at #1 for the most cumulative weeks with the #1 single. Other notable entries include Justin Bieber's song Baby for being the most watched video of any kind, Willow Smith for being the youngest transatlantic top 20 artist, U2 for the highest grossing music tour of all time, and the television hit Glee for having the most hit singles in a calendar year. That's all for the Music Minute. Back to you, Stephanie.
Thanks, Andrew. It's time to take our first commercial break, but when we come back, we'll take a look back at last weekend's Emmy Awards. Stay tuned.
This is my house. I will not allow violence against this house.
No, 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 no!
I'm gonna tell you something. Anybody finds out, we're both dead.
That's why this driver's gotta go, Bernie. He's gotta go.
Is there any way someone could weaponize the bird flu? Is that what we're looking at?
Someone doesn't have to weaponize the bird flu. The birds are doing that.
Back. The Emmy Awards took place this past Sunday, and although The Real Deal wasn't up for any awards, we still hope you were able to enjoy them. But in case you missed them, Paige Ziegler is here to give you a recap. Paige?
Thanks, Stephanie. This past Sunday was the 63rd Primetime Emmy Awards, hosted by Mother Cheerio herself, Jane Lynch. Lynch ditched the tracksuits, but still started the show with a Glee-inspired opening number. However, it was Modern Family that stole the night. The hit ABC comedy has 17 total nominations and won 5, including Best Supporting Actor Ty Burrell and Best Supporting Actress Julie Bowen. The show's director Michael Spiller and writers Stephen Levitan and Jeffrey Richmond won their first Emmys, but the best moment was when it won Best Comedy Series for the second year in a row. Speaking of consecutive victories, The Daily Show with Jon Stewart won its 9th straight Emmy in Best Variety Series, crushing talk show host Jimmy Fallon and Conan O'Brien. And Mad Men won for Best Drama Series for the 4th consecutive year. The Amazing Race won back its title as Best Reality Series from last year's winner, Top Chef. And Downton Abbey won Best Miniseries, racking up a total of 4 wins for the British show. At every award show, there's bound to be some disappointments. Highly predicted winner, Steve Carell, missed what could have been his last chance at an Emmy win. Big Bang Theory's Jim Parsons took his 2nd straight Best Lead Actor in a Comedy. 2 of the biggest surprises of the night were first-time winners. Friday Night Lights' Kyle Chandler won Best Leading Actor in a Drama, and Mike and Molly's Melissa McCarthy won Best Leading Actress in a Comedy. After all the nominees in her category gathered on stage, McCarthy was crowned the winner, literally, for the high honor. Margot Martindale tripped on her way up the stairs to receive her award for Best Supporting Actress in a Drama for Justified, but that didn't deter the excitement of her first Emmy win. So all in all, the Emmys this year were successful, filled with surprises, upsets, and of course, a few laughs. Back to you, Stephanie.
Thanks, Paige. It's time for our second break. When we come back, we'll look at which TV shows didn't return this fall and have our first installment of Rocky's Corner. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. It's premiere week for television, and while many shows are returning, some are not as lucky. Nothing lasts forever, and TV shows are no exception. Claudia Johnson is here to tell us some of the shows that you won't be seeing this fall. Claudia?
Fall comes with the start of new seasons and new shows, but not every show could be saved to last another day. Many shows were canceled or ended last spring. Since we don't have time to cover all of them, I'm going to stick to a superhero theme. The 4 canceled shows I'm going to talk about are SMALLVILLE, The Cape, No Ordinary Family, and The Oprah Winfrey Show. For years, fans of SMALLVILLE have stayed tuned to the evolution of Clark Kent, from teen stud to Superman. The pilot episode broke the WB's record for the highest rated debut, with 8.4 million viewers. Along with that, SMALLVILLE has won many awards. The show has received 3 Emmy Awards. In 2002, it won for Outstanding Sound Editing for a Series. 2006, for Outstanding Editing for a Series for the episode Arrival. And in 2008, for, again, Outstanding Sound Editing. The show has also received more than 10 Leo Awards, and countless others. After 10 seasons, it comes to no surprise that the show finally ended. It has lived longer than most shows and had pretty consistent viewership. Not surprisingly, after only 1 season, The Cape was canceled. Not only were the scheduled 13 episodes of the show cut down to 10, but the 10th and final episode can only be seen online on NBC's website. If that isn't an indication on how well the show was doing, The Cape lost 40% of its viewership in the first 2 weeks. Another better for the movie screen than television is No Ordinary Family. The show had a promising start, but like The Cape, was canceled after only 1 season. The show received generally positive reviews, but suffered from poor ratings and cuts in episode production. Originally, the show was scheduled to have a full season order, but was later cut down to 20 episodes. The last show I'll talk about is the real-life superwoman Oprah Winfrey. After 25 seasons, the beloved Oprah Winfrey Show said its goodbyes last May. The show was watched by an estimated 42 million viewers a week. If Oprah put your book on her book club or your product on her favorite things list, then you probably made tons of money. The Oprah Winfrey Show debuted in 1986 and ranked #1 in talk show ratings for 23 straight years. The final episode was the highest rated of the entire run. It is no surprise that so many fans are upset that the Queen of Talk is no longer here to greet us each afternoon. But they can still catch her on her Oprah Winfrey Network. That is all for canceled and ending TV shows. Back to you, Stephanie.
Thanks, Claudia. Now we'll see what Ben Rocky has in store for us with this season's first Rocky's Corner. Ben?
Thanks, Stephanie. Welcome back to Rocky's Corner. Well, as is the procedure here, I'm going to start the season talking about things that bug me. So, this summer was quite a movie explosion. Harry Potter finished his run. 2 superheroes saw their big screen creations, and Horrible Bosses was everything I hoped it would be. See it. But a few movies I saw were highly well liked by critics and fans, which I thought would surely be thought of as average at best. I guess these films hit certain notes with viewers that my ears and eyes just weren't picking up. First, there was Thor. For me, this was a bandwagon film. I was in no hurry to see it and would have only gone if a friend brought it up. Alas, the call was made and I went. When it ended, everyone was pleased, pretty much, and I thought it was just okay. Don't get me wrong, it was really cool and it was epic, but man, that story with Natalie Portman was more hollow than a didgeridoo. Apparently, him talking to her for a little while made him a better man and he needed to be to get his hammer back. I did not get that impression at all, and the love story was very underdone. And no, it can't be called a love story, it's a like story. You know what, that's wrong too. It's a hot story. You're hot, let's pretend that's undying love. Next is Bridesmaids. This was a weird one. The trailer looked awful. I never laughed watching it. Then everyone said it was great. Rotten Tomatoes gave it 90%. I was psyched to see it now. What did I get? I got the whiniest character I've ever seen. Now, I love Kristen Wiig. I think her cameos and supporting characters are great, but her character in this does more complaining than Twilight's Bella. And the title characters were really underused. They were the best part. The alcoholic mother, the disgusting butch woman, and the clueless newlywed, they were great. And Kristen Wiig was too, when she was funny. But so much of this film is her complaining about everything in this whiny voice that I stopped laughing and was just thinking, quit crying and be happy for your stupid best friend, you selfish idiot. Finally, there was Harry Potter. Last week's show hit on a lot of these points, but I just had to give my 2 cents considering my subject matter today. Critics gave this 96%. Wow, that's insane after what I saw. Now, it wasn't awful at all, and a couple times I was mouth agape, wide-eyed, and fully enveloped. But by the end, I felt like I was left wanting more. That movie went by like a roadrunner. Characters were killed off screen and tossed aside like an old pair of socks. A fight scene that needed so much more depth and action. And Daniel Radcliffe. I was actually watching myself watch him and thinking, dude, give me more. Shed a couple tears here and there. Show me you care about those stupid ghosts. Kiss your girlfriend as if you could die at any moment. Duh. Jeez. Even Ron and Hermione got their passion going, and they were in a creepy basement with giant snake statues watching and a big snake skeleton off to the side. Now, despite these complaints, I do not think these are bad films. Well, maybe Bridesmaids. And I know a lot of effort was put into them. I just think they were way too well liked for what I saw them deliver, which would not be a problem if older films I think are great and do their jobs perfectly, like Rat Race, Unbreakable, and Mystery Men, are just brushed aside as being bad. At least they weren't sequels, except Harry Potter. But that was expected, except the whole part 1 and 2 thing. Go Hollywood. This has been another knockout in Rocky's Corner. Back to you, Stephanie.
Thanks, Ben. It's time for our final commercial break. When we come back, we'll have this week's Best of Bracken and my final word. Stay tuned. Hopefully you've taken a look at some of the movies featured in the past on Best of Bracken. If not, then now is a good time to start. Sarah Russ is here with this week's Best of Bracken.
Thanks, Stephanie. This week I watched Becoming Jane, starring Anne Hathaway and James McAvoy. It's the classic case of man meets woman, they fall in love, and run away together because their parents don't approve. The woman, however, in this case is the wonderful novelist Jane Austen. With her impoverished parents pushing her and the traditions of the time making marriage not an option but a necessity, Austen is forced to consider marrying a man she does not love just to ensure she will be financially supported. That's when Tom Lefroy comes along and sweeps young Austen off her feet. Through complications that were not their fault, the pair separated and didn't see each other until many years later when it's revealed that Lefroy named his daughter Jane. Jane never married. Director Julian Gerald does a fantastic job of finding color and beautiful scenery despite the fact that they shot in Ireland during the rainy season. The acting is impeccable and scenes are bursting with tension and the attention to detail is obvious. In fact, most of the clothes worn in the film had been worn previously in other films adapted from Jane Austen novels, such as Sense and Sensibility, Northanger Abbey, and Pride and Prejudice. Visit Bracken and pick up this film if you've ever wondered about the genius behind 6 of the greatest novels written and her life, but be sure to pick up a box of tissues as well.
Thanks, Sarah. Well, it looks like we've got to wrap things up here in the studio, but I wanted to leave you with my final word. Since going to the movies isn't exactly the most affordable activity for a college student, I've been enjoying movies from the comfort of my own couch. Clearly, they're not going to be new releases. So this week, I wanted to focus on one of my personal favorites, Stepmom. Julia Roberts and Susan Sarandon give two of their best performances. You laugh, you cry, and you get a bunch of warm fuzzies inside. Not to mention, the fall scenery in this movie gets me pumped for my favorite time of year. Now, that doesn't really explain the plot at all, but I think you should go check out the movie for yourselves. And when it comes to music, I'm still digging Pumped Up Kicks by Foster the People. They really made their mark this summer at Lollapalooza. If you haven't heard this song, go buy the CD. It's great for jamming in the car. That's my final word and the end of our show this week. Be sure to check us out on Facebook and Twitter for the latest updates on all things entertainment. Join us again next week, same time, same place. I'm Stephanie Bristow. Until next time.
Nathan Price is a high-valued asset.
He escaped an attack last night. We've got 36 hours to find this kid before they do.
Suddenly, everyone around me is dying.
Hello? I knew I'd find it.
Did you get this number?
You have no idea who you're messing with. He's like a father to you, right? You don't do this, it's a dead man.
We're gonna shake things up. Why don't you walk me through the board?
I believe there's a championship team that we can afford because everyone else undervalues them, like an island of misfit toys.
You can't give up on her.